Hey, what's going on guys? This is Alavi from Techitron, and this is the Walton Primo X4 Pro. The Primo X4 Pro is right now the highest end smartphone in Walton's lineup, as well as the most expensive one. So this smartphone's main attraction is the massive 5000 mAh battery, which gets you between 1.5 and 2 days of battery life, depending on your usage. So today, before I take a look at this review, do remember, if you liked our video and content, definitely hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, leave a comment in the description below. I try reading every single comment and even replying to all of them. So if you have a question or a suggestion, I'll definitely check it out. Inside the box, Walton actually threw in a good number of goodies. So first up, you've got this flip cover, which is a smart flip cover made sort of like a plastic material that mimics leather. You've also got an OTG cable, a good pair of earbuds with extra tips, as well as a screen protector. Design-wise, we have the tried and tested full metal unibody design. This looks absolutely gorgeous on the Walton Primo X4. Every nook and cranny, every corner, every edge, you just hold it and you can feel the good premium quality of the smartphone. This is great craftsmanship. Furthermore, I'd have to say that Walton made a very nice, sturdy phone, which is not only light, but it's also very thin. Given that it has a 5000 mAh battery, that's a good thing in my book. Weight of the device is distributed evenly throughout the entire smartphone, which makes it feel even better in the hand, as it doesn't feel top or bottom heavy. On the right hand side of the smartphone, we have both the volume as well as power buttons. These buttons are positioned just within reach of the thumb and are very tactile and responsive. They produce that audible click that I keep talking about, so they feel very good when used. Furthermore, I should mention that on the top hand side we have a 3.5mm headset jack as well as an IR blaster. So you can use this to control your television, or maybe go to a shopping mall and play around with all the air conditioners just to play around with people. No ideas there. On the bottom we have the micro USB port along with two speaker grills. Now don't get excited here, we know it's one single mono speaker and not a stereo setup over here, but it's also quite easy to cover up even though the audio is nice and loud and it's pretty good when you're gaming. Call quality on the other hand is pretty good on the smartphone, and throughout my usage I didn't have any problem with dropped calls or connections. Furthermore, there is an interesting feature of the smartphone where you get a SIM card slot along with a micro SD card slot, as in separate trays. And what that allows you to do is actually use two separate SIM cards as well as a separate micro SD card slot. And that's actually something that's dying away right now because people are moving to hybrid SIM card slots where you can put one SIM and a micro SD card, or you can put two SIMs and no micro SD card. So that's a good move over here. The fingerprint scanner is located on the home button, and to activate it you actually have to switch on the screen first. But that really doesn't matter because if you're taking out the phone and trying to unlock it, it's kind of natural to just go and tap the home button. See? It just unlocks right there. It's super fast and it does a great job at recording the actual fingerprint, so I had no issues at all with it missing my fingerprint. Before I talk about the display, full disclosure here. I am a big fan of Super AMOLED displays, and so I kind of have a soft spot for the smartphone. The screen on here is a 5.5-inch Full HD Super AMOLED panel with 2.5D Gorilla Glass 4. So not only do you get the absolutely amazing aesthetics of the 2.5D glass, but it's also resistant to scratches and drops because of Corning's technology. Because this is Super AMOLED, all the colors look very vibrant, they pop out of the screen and kind of punch you in the face. They have excellent viewing angles, and the brightness levels are very impressive as well. Furthermore, because this is AMOLED, it means that the contrast is just beyond the charts. No IPS display can really compare to something that is Super AMOLED. And now I'm being a fanboy, but whatever. So as I was saying, because this is a Super AMOLED display and the blacks are essentially the LEDs being switched off, you can actually save some power and maybe get an hour or two of extra battery life by using darker themes or black backgrounds. So that, in my book, has always been a plus. The main camera is a 16 megapixel BSI unit with an f2.2 aperture and a sapphire crystal lens cover. Pretty impressive, okay? Right, so let's talk a little bit about sapphire crystal. It is definitely harder than glass, which makes it much more resistant to scratches. In fact, you need something really hard to scratch that lens cover. But on the flip side, because it's also so hard, it means it's very brittle. So it's much more prone to getting shattered. So if you're gonna drop the smartphone, I'd suggest you be a little bit more careful and attach that built-in or provided case that Walton supplies. Now, daylight images, as expected, look pretty great. They have a good range of color, good depth of field, nice bit of sharpness, and overall I think they do a pretty good job, especially at this price point. But I think you all knew that. The main question here is low light and the extra features, which are kind of like the main highlights in this price point. So in low light situations, the X4 Pro performs a little bit better than most other smartphones, but it's nothing to write home about. But what does save it is the very comprehensive manual mode, which we find right now in almost every single Walton smartphone, at least the ones sold within the last year. The manual mode is very comprehensive and allows you to really express your creativity. But aside from that, we also have an HDR mode and even something that lets you create GIFs, so I thought that was pretty fun. The front-facing camera is a 13 megapixel BSI unit as well, and it has an aperture of f2.2. What's great about the smartphone is that there's a lot of details in the pictures because of that high megapixel count. So it's absolutely excellent for sharing on social media such as Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat. If you haven't followed me on Snapchat yet, I've left my Snap code as well as a link in the description below, so definitely find me over there because I use that particular smartphone for all my recent snaps. So if you check those out, you'll be able to get an idea of what the quality of Snapchat is on the Primo X4 Pro. I'll also post some of my previous snaps onto my Facebook fan page, so if you haven't found that yet, links in the description, go check that out and see some of the content and behind the scenes looks. On the software side of things, we have Android 6.0 Marshmallow with Walton's own Carefree launcher on top. Now this is something we've seen in the past, and from our previous experience and with the Primo X4 Pro, I can tell you that this launcher runs pretty well. If you swipe up from the bottom, you get the control panel where you can access the split screen mode. Now, like every other split screen mode we've seen in the market, this allows you to take two apps side by side or one on top of the other and use them simultaneously, which is excellent for productivity. Now, we don't have every single app over here, but the main ones that you will use are actually here, so in terms of that, I think it's a pretty good collection. The screens, of course, are resizable, so if you need more real estate on one over the other, you've got the option to do that. Also in the control panel is the screen record function, and that's something I'm actually just gonna show you right now. The screen record basically lets you record your screen. So if you're playing a particular game or if you find something interesting that you maybe want to share with your friend, then this is a very good option and tool. We've seen this suspend option before, and it's basically a handy little tool or a knob that you can actually hide or maybe even show, and it allows you to have quick access to a few functions. So that's kind of handy for you if you're having difficulty reaching any part of the screen, or maybe if one of your capacitive keys goes bust. Smart screen gestures are here as well, so you can actually tap on the screen as much as you want and double tap to wake all to your heart's content and do all these cool gestures. I found the child mode to be a very useful feature because if you hand over your smartphone to maybe some kids so they can play some games, you can actually limit how long they can play those games as well as what apps they have access to. So that I think is a very good idea. The privacy space allows you to keep sensitive content away from prying eyes. So it's really great for storing your national ID card number or maybe even your passport details, right? This looks so weird. Don't do this ever again. Yeah, Olivia. You disappoint yourself. The built-in mobile anti-theft thing is also very handy because nobody really likes having their phone stolen, so it's kind of convenient for everybody. Inside, the X4 Pro comes equipped with the 2 GHz octa-core 64-bit processor along with 4 GB of RAM, yes 4, as well as 64 GB of built-in storage, which is expandable via microSD up to 128 GB. And on top of all that, we have that big 5000 mAh battery. Let's talk about this battery for a while. I mentioned before, it'll last you a day and a half to 2 days, and for me, with intense use, I found 1.5 days to be the sweet spot and the consistent mark. If you're using power saving, you can consistently last 2 days or even longer. But to top all that off, we've also got fast charging on this smartphone. So I drained this battery completely down to 0, which took a while and a bit of effort as well. But after that, it took about 30 minutes for the charge to go from 0 to 40%. Now you may not think that's too much, but think about it. 40% of a 5000 mAh battery, that's a lot of power in your hands. To charge it completely takes more around 1 hour 45, maybe 50 minutes, but it'll depend varying on whether you have Wi-Fi on or GPS on and all those and whatnot. Moving away from the battery, I had no issues playing modern gaming titles. I tried out Asphalt 8, Modern Combat 5, Asphalt Extreme, GTA San Andreas, as well as Bloons Tower Defense 5, and throughout my usage I didn't experience any issues. Furthermore, when you hit that 2 GHz CPU mark, that's when you can start actually scaling up the intensity of the games. So I played on beyond default settings on all of these, and it was smooth to say the least. With 4 GB of RAM, you also get adequate multitasking abilities, as well as the ability to, just keep 2 or more of these pretty intense games in your memory and switch between them for whatever reason there is. I won't leave you guys hanging with the conclusion. This is Walton's best smartphone right now, and it's also its most expensive smartphone right now. So if you can afford the 28,990 Taka price tag, then definitely go out and get this smartphone, because really Walton doesn't have anything better right now in their entire arsenal. This smartphone I can recommend for the really good display, a very capable camera, as well as powerful internals that can get you through most of the games that are currently on the market. Furthermore, the build is absolutely great, and overall that 5000 mAh battery really comes into play when you're considering buying a full day or 2-day smartphone. So all in all, I think Walton did a really good job with the smartphone, and I definitely recommend it. Thanks for watching this review. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up and definitely subscribe. I think the subscribe button is somewhere over here. Not too sure about that. If I'm wrong, definitely fix that up. It might be on this side. But definitely subscribe, seriously. If you don't like our content, let me know in the comments below. I will get back to you and I will help sort out whatever you want. If you have any questions, just fire them up and whatever. And definitely find us on social media. I've left my Facebook fan page link in the description, as well as dropped an annotation somewhere. Definitely go ahead and find that. And somewhere I'm gonna put my Snap ID, so go check that out if you want behind the scenes exclusive looks at what we do here at Techitron and what I do myself. Thanks for watching. This has been Alavi, and I will see you in the next video. And I will see you in the next video. Disclosure. 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 Right. Oh my god. Oh.